I'm 18 years old and I built a personal brand that generates me thousands of dollars in less than 3 months. Not because I'm special, not because I have some secret, but because I understood one thing that most people miss. And I need to tell you this now because 2026 is going to be your last real window you have to build a personal brand before the opportunity cost becomes insane. The content space is shifting every single day. More people are entering and the noise is getting louder and louder. And if you're not building your personal brand right now, if you're sitting around waiting or hesitating, you're watching the window close in real time. Because here's what's happening. The people who will build their personal brand in 2025, or if they start in 2026, will still have a 1 or 2 year advantage ahead of everyone else. Because at the end of the day, trust accumulates and so does authority. And you cannot shortcut time. This video is going to show you the exact blueprint that you need to build a personal brand in 2026. Not the theory, not this motivational fluff, the exact strategy that I am even using. Let me start with one misconception that most people get stuck on. I don't need a personal brand. I hear this constantly from founders, from coaches, from business owners to consultants. And every single time I hear it, I'm talking to someone operating with a fundamental disadvantage that they don't even see yet. They think that their work speaks for themselves. They think their product or service is the differentiator. And they think that if they just deliver good results, the clients are going to come. And look, maybe that worked 5 years ago. Maybe it even worked 2 years ago. But in 2026, if you do not have a personal brand, you are falling behind. You are inherently invisible. You are starting every conversation from zero. You're competing purely on price or features. And in reality, you're working twice as hard for half the results. Meanwhile, there are founders who have propelled the launch of their startups through personal brands. They didn't wait until they had the perfect product. They built an audience first and then launched it to people. There are business owners closing $1,000 deals, 5 figures off the back of strategic content for their personal brand. Not through cold outreach, not through ads, but through trust that was built over months of showing up, documenting and sharing their story. And here's the kicker. The gap between the people that understand this and the people that don't is widening every single day. And if you're on the wrong side of that gap, trust me, you're going to feel it. But this is what changes everything. You don't need to fixate on your unique selling proposition for your business. You don't need to obsess over what makes your product or service different from other people. And you do not need to engineer some clever positioning for your offer, because at the end of the day, you are the USP. Your story is what's going to make you different from everyone. Not your framework, not your logo, not your methodology, not your process. The experience that you have had, the lessons that you have learned, the perspective you have developed, and the journey that you are currently on. Because every single person has a unique story. And that story, when shared consistently and strategically, is what builds trust, authority, and connection. This is the opportunity. While everyone else is fixating on offers and USPs, you're focusing in on yourself. And once people buy into you and your story, your offer becomes secondary. They're not just buying the product or the service, they're buying from you. So let me break down the 3 phases that I use to build a personal brand. Phase 1, define your story. The foundation of your personal brand is your story, not a manufactured origin story, not some polished narrative that sounds impressive. Your real, actual, lived story. What experiences have shaped how you think today? What failures taught you what success can't? What moments did you see things differently from other people in your space? Your story is the lens in which you see the world. And when you're clear on the story, everything else becomes easier. Your messaging becomes clearer, your content becomes unique, and you become different. And the funny thing is that most people skip this step. They jump straight into posting content without ever figuring out what makes them different. And they wonder why their content sounds like every other person out there. You need to sit down with a pen and paper and map out your life story. What are the key moments? What are the themes? What are the lessons that kept showing up? This is the foundation that everything is built on. Phase 2. Your content engine. Once you're clear on your story, you need a system to turn that story into actual content. And this is where most people overcomplicate it. Here's the simplest way that I've found with any of my clients, and is still the exact process that we use with our business owners today. Every Sunday, you're going to sit down and talk to your phone. You're going to record a voice note about what happened in that week. What were the highs? What were the lows? What did you learn? What worked? What didn't work? Don't filter it. Don't try to make it perfect. Just talk to it. Then you're going to plug that voice note into AI and ask it to pull out the key moments, key insights, and things that are going to resonate with your dream follower and ICP. Then you're going to sit down and talk to those exact moments. Not scripted, not polished, camera, microphone, and topic. And you're just going to talk. See, it sounds silly, but it's the easiest way that you can create content and be authentic. because it's lived experiences. There's no coming up with content ideas, no staring at a blank screen wondering what to post. You're just mining your actual life for moments that matter. And here's the critical part that most people miss. You're going to repeat the hell out of this process. Your story and your weeks and what you are actually doing right now is your bread and butter. It's the content well that is just going to keep on giving. You just have to keep documenting and pulling out the key moments that align with your dream follower and ICP. People need to hear your story multiple times in multiple ways before it finally lands. Because, as we established in phase 1, your story is your differentiator. So, mine it endlessly. The same lessons, the same themes, just told from a different perspective. Phase 3, build premium positioning. This phase is all about taking your content engine and layering some premium flair to it. This is how you're going to build a brand on any platform, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, and make it feel so premium and effortless that people will beg to buy or work from you. It's not about the production quality, although of course that helps. It's not about the fancy editing or the equipment. It's about creating content so valuable that selling becomes unnecessary. Because when you give away lessons, frameworks, and insights that people would pay for, you do two things simultaneously. You position yourself as an authority and you create a psychological debt. People feel like they've already got value from you before they've asked anything. That is the premium positioning layer. You're not holding back, you're not teasing, you're not gatekeeping your best ideas. You're demonstrating depth and generosity in a way that makes it so obvious that you know what you're talking about. And when you do this consistently, something shifts. You stop needing to convince people to work with you or buy from you. They just do it themselves. They see the value that you give away for free and they think to themselves, if that's the value that they're giving away for free, what are they keeping for the paying clients? And in the long run, you build so much trust and demonstrate so much value that you don't even need to make an offer. But let me be very clear and very specific as to why this matters right now. 2026 is the last window of opportunity to build a personal brand before the cost of entry becomes prohibitive. Every month that passes, every new person that pops up, more people realize they need a personal brand. The noise gets louder, the competition gets fiercer, and the bar for standing out gets higher. But if you start in 2026, you will have a 1 or 2 year head jump on everyone else. That's where the compound effect is the massive advantage. The trust and authority that you build and establish now is what's going to lead you into 2037, 2038, and for the decades that follow. But if you wait, if you tell yourself you'll start next year or when you feel ready, you're giving up on that compounding effect. You're starting from 0 while everyone else is on year 1, 2, or 3. And I hate to break it to you, but the gap does not close, it just widens. This isn't about FOMO, this isn't a manipulation tactic. This is just math. Time is the most important thing in the world, and especially in personal branding, because you cannot buy it. And the only way to build trust is through time. So here's what I want you to take away from this. Building a personal brand in 2026 is no longer optional. It's not a nice to have. It's not something you do if you feel like it or if you have some spare time. It's the foundation that everything else sits on. Your story is your competitive advantage. Your content engine is how you scale that story, and your premium positioning is how you turn that story into authority. And the time to start is now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, not when everything is figured out. Right now. Because every day that you wait is a day that somebody else gets ahead. And 5 years from now, you'll look back at this moment and think to yourself, damn, I wish I started. The methodology is simple. Figure out your story, build a content engine, and lay a premium positioning. And do it consistently, over time, without stopping. Start now.